What up? What up? Welcome in everybody to another episode of Profit Picks. If you are new, we do always start the show by being transparent. And if you guys watched yesterday's show, y'all saw how exhausted and tired I was. And last thing that I remember seeing last night, I saw the Lakers score was 55 to 38, something like that. And I saw the Sun score was 16 to 21. And next thing I know, I'm waking up the next morning. So I did that. I didn't check any games yet. I'm gonna check them right now, but I just wanted to cap the card before I went back to yesterday's results. That's just kind of how I prefer to do things. So I'm gonna kick it to Mr. Ravino first while I check my yesterday scores. How you been, Ravino? And how was yesterday for you?
I'm good today, Ski. Glad you got caught up on rest. Yesterday, NBA for me, and that's all I played yesterday was NBA, was 1-1. Really thought that we'd get a little bit more offense out of the Phoenix Suns. I had that team total over 114 and a half. And once Kevin Durant was announced in, it shot up to 116 and a half. Certainly they didn't get there. They only got to 105. So that was the bad. But the good was the Denver Nuggets, who hung on to cover that 8-point number late in the game. They were ahead. That was really a wire-to-wire job by Denver last night. Houston came on late. I think with even 5 minutes left, maybe less, 4 minutes left, Houston was trailing by double digits. Pretty big, like 15 to 17 points. And they cut it to around 11 or so, and then finally landed on 10. So that was the good. Denver minus the points. The bad was Phoenix team total over. A lot of action last night. Lakers in a bounce back mode off of the 44-point beatdown. Get there rather easily last night against the Pistons, who remain soft as soft can be defensively. And of course, the NBA injury report, Ski, that was one that I played personally, but did not release to clients yesterday. The Pelicans, we talked about it a lot on the Wagertalk NBA tip-off show. Pelicans plus 2.5. Next thing you know, close to game time, Joel Embiid's not going to play, so it made it a little bit stronger. Nice comeback for CJ McCollum. Great night for Zion Williamson, and good night to have the Pelicans plus 2.5, because, again, that game was never, ever in doubt. But that injury report, oh, my God, in the NBA, it'll make you crazy. I mean, it worked out for me last night, but it'll make you crazy.
Yeah, it will. And I did see that Kevin Durant was announced in, and that line barely moved, and that kind of was a red flag for me. And I see now I lost my 5% play on Phoenix, so yesterday's day is going to be a losing day, and that really sucks. So I guess today is a live reaction show for these results because I didn't really know what was going on yesterday. So I lost that big play on Phoenix. I'll say this: I've been ice cold. All I know is since I don't have the updated numbers, I've been ice cold. I was up about 8.6 units yesterday on the season. If I was to lose all of my bets yesterday, I would be down 5.5 units on the season. And that's where I started at the end of the first game after I backed the Lakers. So I know I won at least 3 bets out of 7. So I should be still slightly positive on the season, but at the end of the day, it's not a good day. 3-4 yesterday, lost the best bet, and got to do better. So we do have a lot of action today, and I'll still check my updated numbers just because I want to know. But it's the end of the world, Rob. You know, when you lose a 5% play, even though I've won 9 of my last 11, I'm seeing now as I'm checking things that I couldn't win a bet just to save my life and all kind of other comments. So I try to do better here for everybody.
You got to love the people, Ski. You got to love the people.
It is, and one thing I do understand because I get pissed off too. I put my money.
Yeah.
I woke up early. I told you guys I was up since 1 a.m. yesterday capping these games, and Phoenix ended up being my best bet. I went and drove to where I had to drive to put the best number in, and it didn't matter. So I'm mad too. But last thing I'm gonna say, Rob, I know we got to get started. Is I'm happy. If I got to look at this season right now compared to the past 2 seasons that I've had, I would take it in a heartbeat. Last season, at one point, I was down extremely bad. Like I'm talking about minus 75 units, and I ended up plus 129. The year before, I started off the first 2 weeks minus 40. something units, and I ended up plus 40 something units on the season. So I'm not worried. If I can come back from any of that stuff, we'll still have a good rest of the season. So, anything else you want to add before we get to capping today's games, Rob?
Yeah, if you want to talk about, being barely profitable so far this season, and I have treaded far more lightly than you have, Ski. I cut way back on early NBA just because of what happened last year early on to see what was going to happen. I'm actually plus 53.8% on the season. I'm reading it right now, plus 0.9 units. So a very I don't know, a slow as far as play releases are concerned. Start to the season, very, very slow approach here, and very, very slim profit margins. So we hope to, get a little more on these teams and try and have you need that one big run like you had at the end of the year, and it usually comes for all of us. So, like you, not too worried, but definitely taking a little lighter approach this year.
Yeah, and I'm looking now. I'm actually, I gotta be transparent. It says I'm minus 0.87. So I'm down a little bit less than a unit. So gotta do a little bit better here and get back on track. But like I said, I'll still take it compared to where I was the past 2 seasons at least. So let's get to it today. We have NFL, NBA. There's some college basketball, not a whole lot that I'm interested in. And we do have some college football games for tomorrow that we can maybe touch on. So first up, we'll go NFL, and that will be Seahawks and Cowboys. This opened Dallas -6. We now see them as a 9 or 9.5 point favorite. Total open 45.5, and we're looking at 47.5 right now. Um, like I said, I haven't been the biggest football guy. I know these primetime games have been going under, but the market is liking this one up. Market also liking the Cowboys. If I'm not mistaken, Cowboys are undefeated at home, both straight up and against the spread. I think they're winning by closer to 20 points per game. So, do you think this is a situation, Rob, where the market is moving in the right direction? There's still some wiggle room for Dallas. And is the total moving in the right direction, even though it's a primetime game?
Well, you would think that the total movement was in the right direction, Ski. However, the caveat that you mentioned, these primetime games, we just saw another one Monday night, right? 12-10, Bears and Vikings. It was absolutely brutal to watch. And, the players have often complained about having to play on short rest. However, Dallas played on Thanksgiving Day, which gives them the full week worth of preparation and rest. So might not be the same here. Seattle did the same. They played Thursday night against San Francisco. So both of these teams have had ample time, just kind of a different setting. Instead of Sunday to Sunday, it's Thursday to Thursday. Keys to this game, the way I look at it, Ski, and again, I think the over money was probably right. The way Dallas is going on offense right now, all cylinders clicking. Dak Prescott's been absolutely incredible the last few weeks. Now, again, the counter argument to that is the competition's been lousy. Let's see him do it against somebody good. And I don't know that Seattle qualifies as lousy or good. They're somewhere in the middle. So I would expect Dallas to get their share of points against this Seattle team. Where the side is concerned, I worry about Seattle. You see enough of them this year. You worry about them against good pass rush teams. Geno Smith has been an absolute disaster under pressure this year. Seattle, to put their offensive season in a nutshell, at least, where I'm concerned, the way I see it, they're more than good enough to get you from 20 to 20. And then when they get in that zone ready to score inside the 20, it just becomes a nightmare for them, whether it be quarterback sacks, whether it be 3 straight incompletes, whether it be missed field goals. Somehow they don't convert sevens against good pass rush teams, which Dallas qualifies as, right? Micah Parsons and company are going to be coming. So we'll see if they can keep Geno upright in crucial situations when it counts, not in the middle of the field, but when it counts. And you've got Bland out there on the corner for Dallas, who's already returned 5 INTs for touchdowns to set a record. Geno makes a mistake. This may go back for 6 here tonight. I can't be on Seattle, even though the points seem excessive. especially after what we saw out of them against San Francisco last Thursday and what we've seen out of them lately. I don't want to lay this many with Dallas for fear of a backdoor cover. If it's me in this game, Ski, and I didn't play it yet, but I might look a little bit more toward a first half total going over. Full game could get there, but I think I'd rather shorten it up just in case. And there we see a comment from the section, Dallas first half over. They've been quick out of the gate. And in case it is like a 17-point game late and, the game just stalls out and you don't get over 47.5, I'd prefer to be there first half when I know everybody's going all out. And Seattle offensively, it could have a couple of things working here that catch Dallas off guard early. So we'll see. I would lean toward first half over in this game if I had to play, and I still might. If I do, that's the way I'll be on.
All right, Rob, liking that first half over. A lot of people in the chat liking that way as well. People saying team total over for the Cowboys, even though it's a primetime game, saying that the team total is 5-0 at home. Tachi coming in with a trend here, says going back to 2019, home favorites of greater than 8 playing a non-division game following a division game with a division game on deck. That was a lot right there. 10-2-1 against the spread, 83.3%. I'm gonna read it one more time just because my brain needs it to comprehend. Going back, 4 years, home favorites of more than 8. So this game doesn't matter. It's a non-division game. They just played a game that really mattered, and they have a game that really matters on deck. So sandwich spot. Right? See, read it the second time, I understand it. So sandwich spot here says to play the Cowboys. One other thing I'll add to this, I feel like Pollard's been playing a lot better lately, and mostly because I have him on my fantasy team, I've been paying attention. I think he's live to score a touchdown. I probably even look towards his rushing prop, receiving prop. I think Seattle gives up like 5 yards per carry on the ground, something like that. And he's been coming out the backfield. I think he has 10 catches, something like that, the last 2 weeks. So whether it's his rushing yards, rush plus receiving, anytime touchdown, I think Pollard is the guy to play on in this game. Any thoughts on that? And any thoughts on that sandwich spot?
Well, the sandwich spot, that term itself usually means you would be fading a team. So those numbers are kind of, I can't make sense of why you would be so good in the non-important spot rather than, you're off a win. You got a big game on deck. Sandwich kind of means let down, but yet it's telling you that the big favorite covers anyway. So I don't know if it's a quirky trend or if there's some kind, but at least by my logic, I don't understand why those numbers would be so strong that way, but they are what they are. And there's got to be some reason for it. But you would think that the look ahead would cause Dallas to maybe not cover this spot. We'll see. But those are strong numbers for sure. I just can't make sense of why what's occurred is occurring.
Maybe the market is caught up, or I don't know. Yeah, it is kind of. I read it, and I'm thinking it was the other way. But yeah, it's interesting to see that those are the results. And Itachi says just what you said. Most would think to fade the boys, but the trend suggests otherwise.
Absolutely.
Bryce Miller says Marco special. Yeah, I never really looked at sandwich spots until I came around Wagertalk a few years ago. So I will give Marco some credit there. I think I will continue to not bet football, but if I was, I would go with Pollard props, or I'll go with your first half over, Rob. I think those are two solid looks here. I think if Cowboys are going to run up the score, majority of it will probably be in the first half. So that's my thought process. Unless you have anything else to add, we can move on over to NBA.
Now, the only interesting other thing is that Tony Pollard happens to be on my fantasy team as well, so I've been paying attention to. He has been doing us well lately, so hopefully he does it again tonight.
Absolutely. And I know we have some college football championship games tomorrow. You guys know I'm not big on that, but I know it might be important to some of you guys out there. Rob, who's the best team in college football? Let me ask you really quick.
You know what? I'm going to say that I think the best team in college football is Michigan, but that's open for discussion, right? That's not highly conviction, a statement made with high conviction. And Georgia's right there. There's so many teams that are there, but one of those two, I think, would be the final debate. Is it Michigan or is it Georgia? I just happen to believe it's Michigan at this point in time.
All right, fair enough. Let me take a look at the comments really quick. Brian says Michigan, Georgia, and they say Oregon's winning the Natty. All right, let's say NBA next, but let's just talk about that game, and maybe we'll move to NBA after that. I know there's no football games today, but that one does go tomorrow at least, and we can get through that. So Oregon opened minus 9.5. They're still 9.5 point favorite. There's some tens. Total open 67, and we're looking at 66. I am not very knowledgeable here, but from what I've been hearing about Oregon, they seem like their team worth laying is double-digit spread. Is that the direction that you're looking here, Rob, in the championship game, or do you think Washington can keep it respectable?
Well, to tell you how crazy the line movement is in this game, Ski, they played regular season, right? They played the game in Washington, where Washington was a 3-point favorite and won by 3. And now they're on a neutral in Las Vegas, Allegiant Stadium, and there's a 13-point swing. Now, Oregon, in those 5 weeks, Oregon has turned into a 10-point favorite, and they're not even on their home field. So that'll show you where the thought process is of the bettors. That will show you the direction that things have turned. And Washington's an undefeated team. Haven't lost a game, getting 10 points at home. But I don't know that I could make a strong case for them. I do think Oregon's the better team here. I do think Oregon deserves a slot in the Final Four. If they win this, we'll see what the committee thinks, because Oregon's not there yet. I think they're 5 heading into this. But I'll just get back to the first game real quick here. It's a 36-33 Washington win, and Oregon misses a 42-yard field goal on the road as the clock runs out. So they had a chance to tie the game 36-36. That game was seesaw back and forth. You score a touchdown, I score a touchdown, you score a touchdown, I score a touchdown. And then Oregon put 2 together late third, early fourth, and took the lead. Washington regains it with about a minute and a half left, and then they go on to win 36-33. For Oregon in that game, guys, if you want to look for reasons why, and I have to tell you, when I watched that game, immediately as that game was over, I said to myself, if that game was played at Oregon, they'd have won that football game. They had 3 turnover on downs, not fumbles or interception, but 3 turnovers on downs. And 2 of those happened on the Washington 3 and the Washington 8. So instead of taking field goals at that point, Dan Lanning, the head coach of Oregon, decided to go for it both times, got stoned both times. It ends up, you don't know it when it happens, but it ends up being the difference in the game. Oregon's more balanced, Ski. They go for over 200 rushing in that game. Bo Nix, 33 of 44, 75% completions in that contest. Washington, as we know, with Michael Penix Jr., they're all pass all the time. And they threw it well in that game, right? Their top 3 guys combined for well over 200, close to 250 receiving yards in that particular contest. So to me, it comes down to this. You have to, first of all, you got to pressure the quarterback. Neither one of these quarterbacks gets hit all season long. Bo Nix has been sacked 5 times all year, and he's thrown 2 picks in 401 attempts. Try and think about that for a minute. He throws an interception every 200.5 passes. Incredible. Michael Penix only sacked 9 times. Both O-lines doing their job. The difference is Oregon does get to the quarterback. Washington does not. Season-long statistics will tell you that. But in this game, first time around, it's only 1 sack in the whole game. So I think if you can force a couple of sacks or a couple of turnovers here, I would give that edge to Oregon on a neutral field. And I think there's more to deal with if you're going to play them, if you're on the defensive side of the ball. For Washington, when Oregon goes back to the film room, they can say, okay, the top 3 wideouts got us. Let's see if we can pressure the QB and guard these guys a little tighter, even though Polk and Adunze are probably NFL draft choices. They don't have a lot to correct. Washington's got a lot to look at, whether it be, let's stop the ground game that ate us up. Let's stop the passing game. The guy completed 75% of his passes. Let's stop Bo Nix running. There's a lot there for Kalen DeBoer's team to handle. I think that leads to Oregon winning the game. Do I want to lay 10? The only reason I don't think it's a great idea is because if they're winning this game, 38-23 late Washington, the door's always wide open for Washington to score a backdoor touchdown. They're so explosive. Maybe I don't want to lay 10. But again, I would shorten this up first half. Oregon's been here in this game recently, and they've done pretty well. And that one year, you remember, where they just blew Utah out, I could see Oregon getting off to a quick start and winning the first half here. So that's the way I'm looking, Ski. And I would say that that's a pretty strong play for me this week. Oregon first half in this game. I think they can get the whole thing. But again, I'd prefer to shorten it up just because I fear Penix Jr. and that passing game at the end backdooring me and having me walk away, ripping up a ticket. I'd rather cash one at halftime. So give me Oregon first half in that game.
Great breakdown, Rob. Oregon first half, maybe. Manny says great breakdown. He likes the first half over. I have a question for you. And I was looking into this a little bit more as you were talking, and this comment came up. Like Avery is saying here, Washington was -3 earlier in the season, and he pushed with them. Oregon's coach lost them that game, and the book got them favored by 2 scores. Almost like books telling us a story, folks. Like what I would ask is, one, and also before I ask this question, just looking at it, it looks like Washington is the team that maybe is running out of gas as the season is ending here. So I would ask, why were they 3-point favorite earlier in the season? Was Oregon injured? Was it a bad scheduling spot? Because Oregon is supposed to be the better team here, even though they're 11-1. There's one loss to Washington, and Washington's undefeated. And then to see them, like Avery said, as a 9.5-point favorite, makes me think that this is a huge revenge game for them. And it makes me think, kind of how you said, Oregon's going to come out early and often in this game. So why was that last line -3 in your opinion? Do you know? And why do you think Washington's running out of gas?
Yeah, I think when you go back, Ski, they played on October 14th. It's a long time ago in college football terms. And at that point in time, Washington was the high-flying offense, crushing people with 50 points a game. And so -3 is telling you that at home, both teams are equal, and we're going to throw Washington 3 points for being at home. It's a tough place to play. That's the only edge the odds makers gave them in that game, was their home field. I can understand that at the time. To Avery's point that you just showed on the screen here, their head coach lost them the game. It's what I just described to you, right? They have 2 fourth down situations on the Washington 3 and the Washington 8. And he goes for it both times. He doesn't get it, and they lose by 3 on a missed field goal as time runs out. If he kicks a 3 at any point on the 3-yard line or on the 8-yard line, it's overtime. If something goes their way and they get the first down in either one of those situations or score the touchdown, they win the game. I don't know that those things happen again. Last thing I'll say is, to your point about Washington running out of gas down the stretch, it's so true, Ski. I think they've got 7 wins by 1 score. They have not been beating teams badly at all. They scraped by Washington State last week in the Apple Cup. Before that, they went to Oregon State, tough place. They win by 2. They win by 7, 10, 9, 8. For a team that's got all this offense, they should win by more, but the defense isn't that good. And I think that's where it stands out here. Oregon's the far better defensive team. And you got a head coach. This is funny because I love the head coach for Washington, Kalen DeBoer, offensively. But remember that the head coach for Oregon came from Georgia, Dan Lanning, where he won a national title, and he's a little bit defensive-minded, and Georgia ways are in his philosophy here at Oregon, which has given them kind of the look of an Oregon team that we haven't seen in the past, right? With Oregon, it's always like, well, they could never play the SEC because they can't match up, and it proved out a bunch of times. But now it looks like maybe they can match up physically, so I think that the line move is warranted. It does seem a little excessive on a neutral field, but maybe to Avery's point, line makers telling you all you need to know, because you know what? This game opened up 9.5. and nobody jumped on the Washington side. They pushed it to 10 in some places. So not a lot of Washington money out there at this price.
All right, good stuff there, Rob. I will leave the college football to you. But everybody in the chat, loving the breakdown there, talking about the home road splits here, and just a lot of good information being shared. So Rob liking more of the Oregon first half, and we will continue to move right along. Appreciate you coming on and talking these college football games or that college football game, because I wouldn't be able to do it. And I'm sure the chat appreciates you too. So let's move on over to NBA. And we do have, my bad, move over. I think we have 8 games, something like that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 8 or 9, something like that. And we'll go in rotation order like we always do. Rob, do you have you gotta be out of here like at a certain time?
I've got college football with Wager Talk at 3 East, so 12 your time.
Okay. Gotcha. Well, let's get to it. Let's get through these games. 501, 502. Portland Trailblazers heading into Cleveland to take on the Cavaliers. Open -11 for the Cavs. Looking at -12 right now. Total open 223 and it's down to 220. Injury report here. Let me hit the refresh button. For Portland, same guys. Anthony Simons, Wainwright out. Same guys for Cleveland as well. Dean Wade, Ricky Rubio, Ty Jerome all out. Portland does have 2 days rest compared to 1 for Cleveland. Cleveland has been the better offensive, defense, and rebounding team over over Portland, though. It makes me feel I don't want to lay 12 points with this team. I just don't view Cleveland as that kind of team right now. To win by margin, you need to be able to shoot the three well and defend the three well. And Cleveland is bottom 10 in both of those categories. So, combination of that with them being at a rest disadvantage, I would be leaning more towards the Portland side here. And total, I probably would agree with the market going more towards the under. We already talked about them. I mean, both teams bottom 10 3-point shooting teams, but at least Portland is top 10 defending the three. And both teams bottom 10 offensive rated teams the last 5 games. So I would be looking more towards under, leaning towards Portland. How do you feel about Blazers versus Cavaliers, Rob?
Well, first time around, earlier this month, 15th of November, Cleveland lays 10 in Portland and wins by 14, 109.95. So to your point, it's an under. It's virtually the same price range that it was then. But I'm kind of with you. Cleveland is such a different looking team than what they were 2 years ago as far as the way they play the game, their style, so to speak. And I feel like they're much more interested in, especially when Donovan Mitchell's on the floor, they're much more interested in scoring points than they are defending. So Portland's got some pretty good weapons here to keep this thing underneath 12. I don't necessarily like them on the road. Cleveland at home used to be a thing 2 years ago. I don't know that it's so much of a thing anymore. 5-5 straight up, 4-6 ATS. Like you said, you really don't want them as a favorite. So it's a game that wasn't on my short list, so to speak. But if I had to, I might be a little bit opposite here, Ski, and I might, I can't walk away from overs. If I had to, I think I might look at this game getting to 219 or better, just based on Cleveland and the way they play at this point in time. A lot more offense and a little less defense on this team. Their last 2 games that they played were probably the best 2 defensive games field goal percentage wise that they played in the last half dozen. So maybe something's turning around, but maybe something, isn't. I'm not sure. To stop Atlanta is a pretty good deal, to hold Atlanta to 105. So maybe there's some defensive mindset beginning to set in. We'll see.
Fair enough. I out of all these games today, I still don't think I'll be on this one. But if I had to play it, I agree with the market on that total. A couple more comments. Bryce is staying away from rebound props. There's some trees in this one. That's what he's saying. I think he's talking about the Cavs side. Munaf says hard time figuring out which player will get the board tonight between Allen and Mobley. Maybe a reason to just stay off. Let's keep it moving here, Rob. We will move over to the next game, which is 503-504, Indiana and Miami. This one opened up Heat -2. They're now a 2.5-point favorite. Total opened up 239.5. Looking at 238. Injury report. I see Jackson and McConnell, both game time decision for the Pacers. And then Jalen Smith will miss this game. For the Heat, Jimmy Butler's game time decision. They're without RJ Hampton and Tyler Hero. I mean, when I see the Pacers on the schedule, it's only a one way kind of ticket you're looking to bet. It's going to be over or pass. That's just how I feel. But this total has come down as low as 237 and a half over at the Westgate. And I don't think I agree there. Pacers still number one in pace the last 5 games, number two offensive rated team, not really playing a whole lot of defense. And you look at both of these teams' season long numbers, both top five shooting the three, both bottom five defending the three. I mean, I feel like Pacers can force Miami to play up tempo. And if they're just jacking these threes with minimal defense, this game, in my opinion, flies over the 240 range. So that's my preferred choice in Pacers versus Heat. How do you feel about this game, Vino?
Well, I would feel the same way, Ski, but I would probably narrow it even more to just the Indiana team total. That number at 118 to me, especially if Jimmy Butler doesn't go and you lose that bit of defense from the Miami side, the Pacers score on everybody. I know that the Heat, they're perceived to be a good defensive team, but again, I don't think anybody stops the Pacers from scoring. So 118 to me looked a little bit low. This is a Miami team that just gave up 131 to the Bucks, and the Bucks and the Pacers, as far as style on the court, they're the same team basically. Run up and down, score a batch, give up a batch. Hopefully, at the end, we have more than you do. So anything less than 120 here seemed a little light. And if Jimmy Butler doesn't go, that's probably why you saw the movement downward in the total here, because Butler is questionable. Of course, that's going to attract some under money. But I think Indiana over 118 is a good way to go.
And Brian is looking that direction as well with the team total over for the Pacers. Um, Daniel, Miami didn't play last night. They are off 1 day's rest. But other than that, I hear what you're saying. Pacers do have the rest advantage here. Rob, do you agree that it's a little bit strange to see the Pacers like +2 in this game? Do you think that the spread should be where it is right now? Or like do you believe in this Pacers team this year? Like they're gonna be better, they're gonna be good. That's what I'm asking pretty much.
Well, you know what? I would lean to agreeing with that. I think what's strange is to see Rick Carlisle coaching a team like this. Like he's been there a few years now, and it's just gotten more and more offensive minded, which is really not the Rick Carlisle way, but it is what it is, and that's what they're best at. And in answer to your question, Ski, if I was to think, and even though it's in Miami, I'm going to go back to what you said. I think Indiana can force the tempo. I don't know that Miami can slow them down, to tell you the truth, because really nobody slows Indiana down. So if I'm thinking that way, Indiana's going to do what they do best. They probably shoot it better than Miami, especially without Hero, maybe without Butler. So, yeah, I am kind of intrigued that it's +2. If Jimmy Butler gets announced out, it's liable to be Indiana -2 by the time the game tips. So maybe you're getting a little bit of a bargain here at this price. I don't know, but I could see what you're saying. It looks a little bit like maybe Indiana this season is worthy of these types of short numbers where they weren't worthy of it in the past.
All right. Another game. Well, I might get to the window. I really do think the over is the play. Booper said Miami Heat over. Whoa. But I think both teams can contribute here. A lot of people liking the Heat in the chat. I don't think I see anybody liking the Pacers. I did see somebody like the Pacers team total. Mr. De La says Heat first half. Raphael says Heat have lost 3 straight. They won't lose again, especially at home. Likes Bam over his points. Says he's gone over 20 in his last 10. He's been more aggressive this year. Good call out as far as that Bam is concerned. And I won't be on the side. Good luck on that Heat -2. Saturated likes he says, how can you not take Hallie points plus assists? I'm never talking you off Hallie. He's made me a lot of money just since he's been in the league. He's a great player, and against any defense, I feel like he can have success. So I'm never going to talk you off of him. And UCapper's right, Rob. He says you dodged a bullet today, Rob. We got a clip of you saying something hilarious. I was trying to get it uploaded, but I'm having trouble because I was a little
Oh
bit late
no!
today.
What did I do now?
I'm gonna still try though. So you might not be out the water, Rob. We'll see.
Oh no!
Says Pacers are gonna play at their pace and make you play with them. There's only one pace for the Pacers, and I agree. Even if you try to slow it down, they're not going for that. They're gonna get up and down the court. Um, Brian says Pacers give up the most points per game to centers at 28.3. He says, is Adebayo playing? Like, what are we doing here? Are we looking at Bam or what? So that's two people now pointing out the Bam prop. And there is now some Pacers love coming in here. Markel, RC, Munaf. So there is some Pacers love. I wouldn't be running to the window with Miami, especially Pacers rest advantage. But I do feel more comfortable with the total. So we'll roll with that for today. Next game up, we have 505, 506. Detroit Pistons heading into New York. This one opened up Knicks minus 13. They're now 14.5-point favorite. Total open 223. Down as low as 218.5. And injury report. Archie for the Knicks is game time. For Detroit, Bogdanovich is game time. Joe Harris and Morris both out. This Detroit team is just bad. Like, what have they lost 15 in a row now? Usually they lose by margin. They've covered 5 out of their 16 losses. But now you're asking New York to win by a hell of a big margin. And New York is also on the front end of a back-to-back. I forgot who they play tomorrow, but I know they do play tomorrow. So what they really care about, running up the score and covering the back door. That's what I'll say for this game. It makes me nervous. So I think if I was playing this one, it's tough because with Detroit on the back-to-back, the more the game goes on, it should favor New York. But at the same time, with them playing tomorrow, who knows what to expect in that back end of the game. So I do have a little trend. It's nothing crazy. It's just saying double-digit favorites with their opponent on the back-to-back. They are 58.5% to the over, 57.9% ATS. That's going back about 4 years. So lean over, lean Knicks in some capacity, but don't feel super confident. Do you feel confident about this game? Can you take the Knicks minus the 13.5, 14.5, Rob?
Yeah, the situation says you can't do it, Ski. On one end and on the other end, it says you can do it. But looking at the Pistons, it's hard. First of all, it's hard to back them, right? 4 of the last 5 games. Let me just I mean, it just gets worse for this team, right? Last night they lost by 26, game before 19, 23. Then they had a game they played fairly close, and the game before that 29. So 4 out of the last 5 games they've lost by 19 or more. And the Knicks do play defense. So the Knicks can create margin through their defense and, of course, here with offense because Detroit doesn't stop anybody. They gave up 133 last night again to the Lakers. So, I mean, the Knicks would be the only way I could look. You might prefer to look first half. All that being said, as lousy as Detroit's straight-up record is on the road, it's still not bad against the spread. 4-5 against the spread on the road isn't terrible. And when you're catching these types of points, you can always sneak in late. But we talked about this game yesterday, Ski, real quick. I just want to mention this because Ralph brought up a great point. I would have brought it up myself had he had not done it. But that team meeting that Detroit held after the game where they got blown out in the fourth quarter by Toronto, right? They're losing by 1 heading into the fourth, and then they lose the fourth quarter by 22, lose the game by 23, call a team meeting, come back and get beat by, 20 points again. And then last night get beat by 26 points. So I don't know if this is a team that just doesn't care at this point in time. But it sure does seem that way because when a young team can't get straightened out by a team meeting, there could be, I don't know what's going on there. We're not in the locker room, but it just doesn't seem like a team you want to bet on in any capacity right now, other than maybe playing their games over, especially if the Knicks just let off the gas pedal late in the game.
Manny says, yeah, that team meeting was probably at a strip club. We're not trusting that one. Yeah, can't trust every team meeting. We've seen that. And I always think about the Chicago Bulls having a team meeting after the first game of the season. And we see how they look right now. So team meeting doesn't always equate to success right after. Itachi bringing in a trend, says small sample size, but this season, teams playing their fourth straight home game off a win are 14-3 ATS, active for the Knicks, Nets, and Cavs. Says someone else dropped this in the chat once. Appreciate you sharing, and I'll keep that in mind for these upcoming games. I'm hearing that the team total over should be a look here, Rob, for the Knicks. It opened 118, is down as low as 116 and a half. I don't think of the Knicks as a really fast scoring, or like they don't play fast. I don't think of them as big offensive team. I think of them as a team that wins with their defense. Same time, Detroit defense is just so pathetic. So 116 and a half, Rob. Any feelings?
I wouldn't bet it under. I just would. I mean, if you're going to bet it at all, you have to take a small flyer over. But to bet an opponent of the Pistons under their team total when it's in reasonable range, you just can't do it. I mean, the Knicks have had a little rest. The other team hasn't. I don't know. I couldn't bet it under, Ski.
I think I'm with you there. I'm just trying to glance really quick at Detroit's recent games. I'm seeing they gave up. I mean, they've been giving it up, but these teams do play faster. Wizards, Pacers, Lakers, not necessarily, but they held the Nuggets. The Raptors even scored 142. Oh boy. So I mean, Knicks team total could be a look. Just makes me nervous on the front end of that back to back. And I'm seeing a shout out from Saturated saying the fade Asar, his PRA under. Said he's making good money with that. And I could see him getting less rebounds with Duren back in the lineup. Also, Knicks are a very good rebounding team. So could be a good call out there. Next game up, we'll go. And my bad because I messed up my odds screen here. But that is 507, 508. Hornets heading into Brooklyn to take on the Nets. This game opened up Nets -8. We see them as an 8.5-point favorite now. Total open 227, down as low as 223.5. Injury report here. There we go. For Charlotte, Brandon Miller, game time decision. I remember something happening to him in his last game with him getting hurt. They'll be without LaMelo Ball, Cody Martin, Frank Ntilikina, and Nick Richards. For Brooklyn, Royce O'Neal's game time decision. Clowney, Simmons, and Dennis Smith Jr. will all be out. So they got Cam Thomas back in the lineup. Brooklyn is getting healthier. I know one thing. I'm not looking to bet on Charlotte anytime soon. And when I see Charlotte on the schedule, it's only one direction I'm looking. We're either betting their team total under, or betting against Charlotte, or doing something like that because I absolutely don't trust the offense without LaMelo Ball. You add in that Brandon Miller is now banged up. I think this Hornets team is really going to struggle to score until LaMelo comes back, and I want to try to make as much money as I can off of it. For the Nets, I don't know how much I trust their defense. Offensively, I think they're very capable, but I don't think I can take Charlotte team total under this specific matchup. So Nets -8, that is a pretty tall ask, I think, for this Nets team, but it'll be more of a fade on the Hornets side for me, and that's the only way that I lean for the Nets side. And we did just have that query that was shared by Itachi, also backs the Nets here. Teams that what was it that won that have played 4 home games in a row. Let me see. I'll go right back. Playing their 4th straight home game and off of a win, 14-3 ATS. That says to back the Nets tonight. Can you back the Nets tonight, Rob Veno?
I think I could. We talked about this yesterday again when we were on together, how well they're shooting the basketball. They've got an array of 3-point shooters. Charlotte, if they don't have Brandon Miller, I'm with you, Ski. You see what happened the very first time they don't have LaMelo. They scored 91 points. And now if they don't have Brandon Miller too, you look up and down that rotation the other night when they scored 91. Honestly, there's not two guys that can get you 20 points unless the other side just is that horrible on defense. I know the Nets are small and they can be taken advantage somewhat of, maybe in half-court sets in the interior, but that's not Charlotte's way. So I don't know. I could certainly see the Nets covering this game. And I think Charlotte, again, especially if Brandon Miller doesn't go, that's an awful lot of backcourt injuries to this team against a team that's made up basically of nothing but guards and wings, those types of players that can all play offensive basketball. And as you mentioned, Cam Thomas may be back. So that's a lot of offense on one side, very little offense on the other side, erratic shooting on the other side. It would have to be a complete, not a complete, but it would have to be a lack of effort here tonight on Brooklyn's part to go ahead and not win this game. And I think it would be, to not cover. I feel the same way. So if Brooklyn puts in the focus and the effort, they should win this one by 10 plus.
And they've been pretty good ATS, but they haven't been 8-point favorites ATS. Veno says Hornets average 6.7 points less without ball and 3.02 less on the pace factor. And all of those things make sense to me. Davis says Nets 13-3-1 ATS, just money makers. And UCapper says they've also covered every game as a favorite. So those are good reasons to back the Nets here. Marty Marr says, would you take Cam Thomas over total points or wait it out? I'm not going to argue taking anybody over a point total against the Charlotte defense. I don't have reasons to talk you off. So if you like it, I could understand. It's just first game back, I think, could be a little bit rusty. Dub C says, been following for a while. What's your unit, please, with the $1.99 dono? Appreciate you on the dono. And it doesn't even matter whatever anybody's unit size is. It should be a percentage of your bankroll. But I bet a good amount of money, enough for me to be pissed off about when I lose these games. If you see me watch the game, I'm betting enough money to care about the games. That's all I'll say. D Jones, like Nets team total over 116.5. When I was hanging out at Westgate too, I haven't been back there recently lately. Another story time with Ski, I guess, really quick. But when I was hanging out at Westgate, they're like, oh yeah, when Ski's on the game, you can see it all over his face. And they say if the game don't go his way, he might walk away and come back and walk back and try to will it to victory. But I'll be in there. I bet enough money to care about these games, man. That's all I'm gonna say.
Because I remember the day right in the middle of the show. Yeah, and I wish I could remember, because then we could go back and maybe get the replay of it, where you had somebody large, and in the middle of our show, the top player got announced out injured. And I mean, we had to stop the show for 5 minutes because you were so pissed off. Wait a minute, Rob. I got to try and get out of this now.
Yeah, I remember that. I was trying to anything I could. Yeah, man.
So, I mean, we're betting these things too. So don't think that, you guys are the only ones feeling bad if something that comes out of our mouths doesn't go the right way. It's affecting us too.
100%. 100%. A couple more comments before we keep moving here. Wayne says, thanks, Ski, all your information, talking the game through and helping us find good spots. That's all we can ask. Thanks, bro. No problem. I enjoy coming out here and talking the games out with you guys. And hopefully, we continue to help you guys out. If you guys like the show, hit the like button, as it does help us out quite a bit. The top UCapper did share some stats for the last game, and I didn't see the comment in time before he moved over to this game. But he asked us to look at Knicks versus less than 500 teams. So far this season, they're 8-1-1 ATS, and I believe they're all blowouts. Wagertalk in here says, big shout outs to Ski and Veno, one of our favorite dynamic duos at Wagertalk. Appreciate you guys even tuning in and coming in here. So that's how Rob says, yeah, we gotta keep them happy at the end of the show. We know they're watching.
Get those promos rolling.
No, we have a good time here, and Love the Wagertalk family as well. And Dud C says, by the way, awesome show and awesome guys. Appreciate that. All right, let's keep going. JK says 286 people in here. Drop some likes. Yeah, help the show out a little bit. Oh, and I do want to talk about this before we move on, just because I feel like I have to mention it. Sam Cuddy says, anyone that blames you guys for their losses is just a poor loser and a poor better. One thing I'm gonna say is Rob and I are a little bit different than other people because we do also sell picks. So I understand when somebody's angry at me for buying a pick and not winning. Now, granted, we're not going to win every single bet that we place, but I understand why somebody can be mad because I'm mad too when I lose a bet. So that's what I have to say. But for people who are just watching the show and are not paying for anything, I pretty much agree with this comment 100%, Sam. Next game up. I don't want people to think I don't care, Rob, about when they lose. Like I'm not one of these NBA guys saying, screw your tickets. I don't care. I care 100%. 100%. All right, next game up 509, 510. Atlanta Hawks, San Antonio Spurs. Game opened up Hawks minus 6.5. They're now 7.5 point favorite. Total opens up 244.5. And I'm looking at 248 right now. Injury report. Jalen Johnson continues the same three suspects for Atlanta. I don't even know why I have to continue to mention it. For Spurs, Sohan, game time decision, likely. Wemby could potentially miss this game. A true toss up to play, game time decision. So we will see if he's out there tonight. For this one, I mean, you chuckle, Rob. We getting these extremely high totals now with Pacers and Hawks games, and they still can't run to the window and bet the under. I mean, these teams are playing so up tempo, not playing any defense. To put numbers to what I'm saying here, for both of these teams, I'll do. I mean, they're both top five in pace. Hawks are the third. I mean, these are last 5 game stats. Top five in pace, last 5 games, bottom. They're third worst defensive rated team for the Hawks. Spurs have been doing a little bit better. Their defense has climbed up from bottom of the barrel to 19th, but still don't trust them. And both teams bottom 10 defending the three on the season. This is a Spurs team who 3 days rest compared to 1 day rest for Atlanta. Um, Only way to look at this one is up and over the total. I don't like the Spurs play tomorrow. I just really don't think any defense will be played. And there was a prop here that I wanted to look at. Just as some numbers. It's going to be Zach Collins over 13.5 points. I didn't bet it yet, but it was a look. And I'll shout out the prop queen for this one because, she brought it to my attention. Collins versus bottom 10 defenses, averaging 18.7 points per game. Atlanta, fifth most points per game allowed, and struggling against power forwards. Atlanta, without Jalen Johnson, last 5 versus power forwards, Atlanta's been giving up 21 points per game to them on average. So I know Collins is going to be at that center position probably tonight, but Collins might be worth a look at 13.5. Do you agree, Rob? Over or nothing? And can you get there with laying the points with the Hawks on the road?
Well, I don't want to lay points with the Hawks on the road. Let's start there. But these totals are getting outrageous, Ski. And just again, I mean, we both know that neither team plays defense, right? We both know that they both like to score points. But how about this? 17 games played by Atlanta, 14 of those haven't reached 248. I mean, as much as they're scoring, the odds makers are now pricing you out of range to be able to play these things over. I'm not saying that it can't get over. I'm just saying that only 3 times all season has an Atlanta game gone over 248 points. That's a lot. If you turn around and look at the Spurs, they're 11-3 under 248 in their last 14 games. So as much as they score, we always draw the line in the sand at 240 over the last few years, right? And now they're asking us to almost draw it at 250 now. And it's a lot. It's a lot to ask, even for somebody like me that likes to play the offenses more than the defenses and play these totals over. But I can't get there with over 247.5. If Wembanyama doesn't go, it's liable to come down, but that would make it even more difficult. So I'm going to pass on this game entirely. Listen, Coach Pop, he hasn't. I guess to your point, they're playing a little bit better defense, but I don't see any real drastic improvement in San Antonio yet. Maybe that'll take time. So I don't know that I want that side. This game's just a complete pass for me.
And it's all good. We don't have to bet every single game.
What is he talking about here? Boofer, Jesus.
No, he says likes are slowing down today. Everyone must be everyone's mesmerized by Veno's dreamy eyes. Click the likes. Appreciate you asking everybody to hit the like button for me. And yes, if you guys appreciate the information this about the show, if you could hit it. Itachi says he has 7 trends that are all 65% plus, liking this game over. Says it's high, but mostly high for a reason. UCapper says it's a sandwich spot for the Hawks here. And they played the Cavs yesterday, or the last game, and they play the Bucks next. So he thinks they'll care a little bit more about that Buck spot than facing these Spurs. And no Jalen Johnson, he's saying as well. Yeah, I don't really like the Hawks on the road at all in general. So asking the late points is not something I'm looking to do. I'll tell you that 100%. Veno says Hawks, for as much as they play up tempo and no defense, they're 6-1-1 to the under on the road. But he says counter argument, Spurs are 7-2 to the over at home. So
real quick, Ski, Hawks Bucks game tomorrow night. If this is 247.5,
it's not tomorrow.
Or no, 2 days from now. But still, what would that? Is that going to eclipse 250 as an opener for a total Milwaukee Atlanta?
I wouldn't be surprised. I know I'm not betting it under.
Right.
I'm not gonna be that guy picking the under in that game. It won't be me. That's all I'll say. Gilbert says link in bio. Not sure what you're saying there. Says Veno is dreamy, no doubt, Boofer.
I gotta love these guys.
Johnny skipping ahead all over the place, but we will get to those games, and I appreciate you sharing. All right, next game up, one of those teams you just mentioned. That would be 5-11, 5-12. The Milwaukee Bucks went to Chicago to face the Bulls. Opened up Bucks -7.5. They're an 8.5-point favorite now. Let me hit the refresh on the injury report. For Bucks, Connaughton is out. Crowder is out. For the Bulls, Caruso, DeRozan, and Levine are game time decision. I want nothing to do with the Bulls. Absolutely zero. You look at the last game, I think and it was funny the way that Underdog NBA put it out. They're like, it was something that they tweeted like Zach LaVine will not return ankle/scoreboard. Like until these guys blow it up, until they trade Zach LaVine at the very least, why would you want to put your money on this Bulls team? I want my money on people who are motivated to play, who have some kind of camaraderie and chemistry going on. The Bulls have nothing. Absolutely nothing going for them. Last 5 game stats, bottom 10 in all the categories I care about: offensive rating, defensive rating, rebound percentage. On the season, bottom 10 shooting the 3 and defending the 3. What do the Bulls do well? I'm telling you, it's the Bucks for nothing for me. Can you talk me off, Rob? And also, the Bucks being scary again, just like they did the other day with Jalen Duren. I was waiting all day to take Duren double-double, and they never put it up. Maybe they put it up right before the game, but I'm waiting on Bobby Portis. Give me crazy eyes versus the Bulls every single time. I'm either on his points, rebounds, or double-double. How do you like the Bucks versus the Bulls?
I think Bucks team total, Ski, probably is the way I would go here. It's listed 118.5. They're 9-4 over 118.5 in their last 13 games. And the Bulls, when you just asked the question, what do they do well? We used to be able to at least say, their slow pace and decent defense can keep the other team lower scoring, but it hasn't happened recently, right? 124 to Boston, which is in Milwaukee's category offensively, 118 to Brooklyn, 121 to Toronto, 116 to OKC, 118 to Miami, their last 5 games. So for the Bucks, if Miami can get to 118, certainly the Bucks can get to 119, in my opinion. That number just seems low. Tempo sometimes matters in these NBA games. Sometimes it doesn't, because Milwaukee can absolutely steamroll Chicago's tempo with their up and down. Their number one rated tempo team in the league. Too many scores. I can't. 118.5 to me seems to be one of the strongest plays on the board here tonight. Like you say, Chicago folding at the seams. Not much Billy Donovan can do there. So I would look at Milwaukee team total over 118.5.
I can talk about Bucks are the worst defensive rated. I mean, Bulls are the worst defensive rated team in the league the last 5. They also are not playing without pace, but the Bulls, I mean, the Bucks can absolutely pace them up. Bucks top 10 shooting a three, Bulls bottom 10 defending it. I could absolutely go for a Bucks team total over here. Itachi sharing some more trends says divisional dogs coming home after a 4-game trip on the road are 12, 20, and 1 ATS, 13 and 20. Well, I'll say 20 and 13 to the under, 60.6% there. So fade the Bulls and also take the under is what this trend says from Itachi. Only ways to look for me. Maybe I'll get there with this game, but I honestly I want Bobby Portis. Basically, the books is being scary. They keep doing this now, and it's like the best spot for the players. They don't want to put it up. So we'll see if they eventually do towards the end of the day. RC, he says Bucks 81 straight up at home, but just 2 and 7 ATS. Bulls have already covered against the Bucks too. I would argue that was probably in the beginning of the season when they still thought they had a chance. But are you gonna say anything there, Rob?
Yeah, I mean, I apologize, Ski. My phone was blowing up here, and it's because there's a radio show that I was supposed to be on at 11:30 Pacific, 2:30, and I haven't called in yet. So let me sign out of here, call them,
Sure,
and get
go
on
for it.
that. And then again, thanks to the chat, and we'll see if we can't hook up tomorrow. I'll text you and see if we can't find a time frame where we can do a little something tomorrow to make
All
up for
right.
this. But I apologize. I forgot all about these guys, and they're going wild on my phone right
No
now.
worries. I
All
appreciate you
right, buddy.
coming through, Rob, and I'll catch you again maybe tomorrow or so.
All right, pal. Take care. Good luck tonight. Good luck to the chat. Thanks, guys.
Same to you. Yeah, I was like, well, I know you got to go in and prep for the shows, but we'll finish it up. Appreciate having Rob. He helped us out with college football, helped us out with NFL, and did a great job capping the NBA games with us. Uh, let's keep moving. We'll be by ourselves for the last 3 games on the slate. So we'll go Jazz at T Wolves. This game opened up Wolves minus 9.5. You now see them as an 11-point favorite. Total opened up 224 and is down as low as 220.5. Injury report: Clarkson is game time decision along with Kelly Olynyk for the Jazz, and they'll be without both Chris Dunn and Laurie Markkinen. For the Wolves, Anthony Edwards is game time decision, but unlikely to play. Clark is out. McDaniels is out. McLaughlin is out. So I felt I told you guys if you watched the beginning of the show, my process as far as when I capped these games. And this was another one that was on my short list here. I marked down Minnesota, Utah under 223. That line has gotten a little bit away from us. We're seeing best number we can get right now is 221.5. But it's still the only way I would look here. We know how good Minnesota's defense is on the season. They're still number one defensive rated team in the last 5 games, going up against a Utah team who is second worst offensive rated team in the last 5 games. Utah's still missing their star, Laurie Markkinen. We'll see if they get that boost from Jordan Clarkson because he's game time decision today. But that's a big chunk of offense missing, especially if you're going up against one of the best defenses in the league. Utah not really playing with pace right now. Minnesota a little faster than I would like at 12 for a full game under. And even though Utah's defense has been better lately, like I love the way they play defense against the Pelicans. Mostly because you could pack the paint, the Pelicans couldn't shoot. I just don't think you can play that same kind of defense versus Minnesota. Top 10 team shooting the three, number 2 defending it. Only way I would look on the point spread is Minnesota. They've been very home dominant, but I think the better way to go is, and I've been playing it every game, I feel like, except for when they just played OKC, I took the full game under because I've been playing both of their opponents' team total unders. But Utah team total under 105.5. seems like a pretty good look to me. And I'm gonna take a quick second and just look at if I can pull up Minnesota here. I just want to see what they've been doing lately. They just and at home I know they hold players less than on the road, but lately gave up 103 to the Thunder, 97 to the Grizzlies. Kings did beat them and score 124. Gave up 99 to the Sixers, 100 to the Knicks. They're more than capable of holding these teams down, especially when they're at home. I feel like on the road is where they give a lot of those points up. So let's test it out. Let's see if what I'm saying, what I'm thinking is correct. I'm going to go to the database. We'll type in team equals Timberwolves and home season equals 2023. And I'll share it on the screen just so you guys can all look at what I'm looking at here. So let's screen share. Boom. So Timberwolves at home so far this season. 8-1 straight up, 7-1-1 ATS, winning by an average of 12.33 points per game. And opponents are averaging 100.1 points, 101.1 points per game. And just looking at this, there's only been two teams who passed this 105 mark. 109 for the Celtics. That was a game that the Timberwolves won outright as an underdog. And we know how great the Celtics offense is. And then versus the Kings, another game where they lost that one, I believe. Yeah, they lost that one outright. And the Kings offense is pretty potent when everybody's healthy. So other than that, they've been holding everybody down. I feel like this is a good play. They already did it once versus the Jazz. Look here, Timberwolves versus the Jazz, 123-95. I think they do it again here tonight. So rather than the full game, I prefer Utah. And I'll mark that down on my short list, 105.5 under. Let's take a look. Let me stop this now. Take a look at the comment section. Let me scroll up. I was talking for a hell of a long time. And Boober said Veno going big time. Daniel giving Rob some thanks, says he was great. Sheldon says Rob was enjoying himself so much, he was kicking it with us. Yeah, Rob was cool, man. If you kick it with Rob in real life, he's a great guy, and he's fun to hang out with. He can definitely hang with everybody if we thought he couldn't. Ski story time. We did have one today. Oh, good call out by Saturated. If we do like some kind of offense here, it would be Keontae assist prop. He's been pretty good in that regard for the Jazz as a rookie. They are on a back-to-back, though. I don't love it. And going up against a stingy defense, I'll probably sit this one out as far as that's concerned. But in general, I do look towards his assists. Saturated, not a big fan of Clarkson. Brian says Jazz give up big numbers to power forwards and centers. Got to look at Towns, Rudy rebounds. I mean, this is Rudy versus old team, but Rudy's not one of those guys who like Rudy don't have that dog in him. I'm not banking on him to have a revenge game versus old team. He's played them a couple of times, and I don't think it was anything too crazy anyway. But I could see him grabbing some boards. I don't want to talk you off of that. UCapper says first game without key player. He likes that team total under. Let's see. Minoff says lay with the Wolves and Cat on his points plus rebounds. Cat averages 27.8 points and 10 rebounds without. And good call out there. So maybe look a little bit towards Cat. Super the greatest says Mike Conley points plus assists. Yes, sir, Minoff. We did get that one on the query. Let's see. Kylie, that did hit. That Lakers Nuggets moneyline parlay we talked about did hit. So nice work there. Buford likes Minnesota first half and full game. Can't talk you off. UCapper says story time with Rob is even crazier. All right, let's keep it going. So you guys know the direction I'm looking in this game. we'll keep going down the slate. Two more games left. Next one up is 5:15, 5:16 Lakers at OKC. This game opened up OKC minus 6.5. They're now as low as a 5.5 point favorite. Total opened up 227.5. And a lot of love for the over. As high as 233 right now. Injury report for the Lakers. I need to refresh this because I did see some stuff popping up when I glanced at my phone. We have Max Christie, game time decision here, along with LeBron. And then Anthony Davis is probable. Jackson Hayes, true game time decision, along with Cam Reddish, true game time decision. They'll continue to be without Rui, Vanderbilt, and Gabe Vincent. I don't see anybody on the injury report for OKC. This is a Lakers team who is on a back-to-back versus OKC, who has 1 day's rest. And it wasn't a too taxing game for the Lakers. I mean, they won by, insane margin in that last game. But now you got to face an OKC team who's a much different challenge. Really good defensive team. One of those teams that I trust. Like I talk about, they shoot the three well and defend it. They're number one this season shooting the three and top five defending it. So I like those things. They've clearly been the better offensive team lately, the better defensive team lately. I do think the Lakers, can hang with them and, out rebound them in this game. So they have that going for themselves. But even Lakers catching these points, and it's crazy for me to think like this, it makes me feel nervous to go in here and grab it. You never know if LeBron could be ruled out. I know AD is at least probable, but I like a lot from what I've seen from OKC. I think the thing that I can trust and count on the most in this game is OKC not slowing down a little bit as far as the pace. They're bottom 10 the last 5 games. Lakers have been playing more up tempo, but both teams top 10 defending defensive rated teams last 5 games. I think I would prefer to bet on that. I would prefer to bet on both defenses. And if I didn't bet on both defenses, I'd probably take OKC with the team total under. But I do like Lakers been looking a little bit better lately. So the full game total has gone up 5 points. I disagree. I think it's going the wrong direction. I'll keep it on my short list here, but and I do have it down there already. Lakers OKC under. That's the direction I would go. And prop wise, OKC not the greatest rebounding team. I can see Anthony Davis having success on the boards again. D'Lo assists have been pretty good. I could look towards that. Those are the two things that stand out to me right now. Let's take a look at the comment section. Are we letting Ski bet the Lakers 2 days in a row? Markel likes SGA on the ladder on his points. Nathan having fun with Giddy still. UCapper says, Ski, look at Lakers after scoring 130. All right. Mr. Query Guy, let's do it. Season equals 2023. Team equals Lakers. SDQL Bachelor, Mr. RC. Team equals Lakers and previous points greater than 130. I think that's what he said. I see 0-2 straight up, 0-2 against the spread, and 2-0 to the under. So don't really show up in these spots after putting up big numbers. And that backs my look on the under for the game. That's the only way that I would look here. Appreciate you sharing that. RC, Justin letting us know that he will be taking Oregon minus the 9. Brian says bad spot for the Lakers. First half OKC. I do think the more the game goes on, it favors OKC, but the Lakers have been a clear first half fave for, the season. Vaughn, he likes OKC minus 1.5 in the first quarter. LA 6-12-1 straight up. Really only win versus bad teams. And 2-7-1 on the road. OKC top 5 in offensive and defensive rating all season. 12-4-1 straight up on the season. 7-1 straight up last 8. 7-2 straight up at home. So he's liking OKC a little bit there in that first quarter. Manny likes OKC first quarter, first half as well. He says that the OKC is 12-5 first half of the season, and we know how the Lakers start. Starts out being a contrarian that he is, kind of like Lakers first half, OKC second half. What up, Brandon? Limitless also liking the under here. Saturated having fun with Giddy saying under 18. Vaughn says Lakers 0-3 on back to back and 3-7 after win. Looking like not a Lakers spot here. And the UCapper say to go back to last season, but if you do go back to last season, Itachi's saying it's 1-6-1 ATS, so you can go back even further than just this season. Not the situation that the Lakers have success in. SK says Chet threes, he's been letting it fly. Lakers not the best team defending the three, so I can understand that. Armando said I told you ski money line the Pelicans. Good call. I did have the Pelicans in my pocket. It was one of my few winners for yesterday. Wish it would have been the best, my 5%, but it was not. Sean also saying Chet over 7.5 rebounds has hit 3 of the last 5 games. So good stuff. Says Mr. Birthday Boy. Ski get it right. It's RC birthday today. Hey, shout out to my boy UCapper RC. Happy birthday. Make sure y'all go check him out. He does a lot of great work and really good better across the board, all sports. So happy birthday to you, bro. And hopefully you have a good one today. If you were here, it'd be mandatory. You gotta take I don't know how many tequila shots. But you might be lucky that you're not over here right now. But hopefully you have a good one, bro. In all seriousness. Yeah, Tachi says everyone wish the SDQL bachelor happy birthday. Says this one don't even know his friends' birthdays. I barely be keeping up with my family's birthdays, man. I be in my own bubble. I'm not gonna lie, bro. It's just like it's hard for me to all the work that I do every day. It's hard for me to keep up with a whole lot of other stuff in general. It really is. But it is what it is. Everybody coming in, letting them know happy birthday as well. Let's keep going over to the last game on the slate for today. That will be 5-17, 5-18, Clippers and Warriors. This game open. Warriors minus 4.5. They're now 4.5 point favorites still. Total 228. Looking at 227.5. And injury report. Boston game time, Powell game time. Both unlikely to play. Plumlee is out. For Golden State, they'll be without Gary Payton II. They'll be without Chris Paul and Usman also out. Golden State kind of falling apart here, man. They might have to make some kind of trades or some kind of moves because I just, if they keep going like this, I don't see them really making any noise. Clippers did get the win yesterday. It wasn't with their defense, but they have been a really good defensive team. Last 5 games, they're still ranked number 3. Top 10 rebounding team in that same span, which are both better than the Warriors the last 5 games. It's the offense where Warriors have the advantage in this game, as well as rest advantage. Clippers played last night. Golden State is off 1 day's rest. So this one makes me feel a little bit iffy. I would think Golden State, after blowing that big lead, really comes out to playing this game and plays for the entirety of it, full 48 minutes. But I feel like the Clippers been kind of finding themselves a little bit here lately too. And Clippers are so, how do I say? Clippers are so, I don't want to say inconsistent. They're all over the place, unpredictable. I'll say is the word for the Clippers. So I guess if I'm playing this one, I'll look a little bit more towards the total. Clippers did go under, I think, 8 straight before yesterday. I already mentioned how they've been defensively. Do I trust the Warriors defense though? And the Warriors also play with pace. This is a very tough game. I do like that both teams are really good defending the 3, but I just don't love anything in this game enough to put my money on it or to try to convince you guys to put your money on it. let's take a look and see if the comments can help me. Mike says Ski forgot his own birthday. Itachi says, I don't even know what day it is today. It's super hard to be remembering birthdays. Star Child likes the Clippers tonight. Immaculate Music Group likes Warriors -5. Gilbert says Harden over 13.5 points. He says points plus odds. Not sure what you mean there. Manny likes the first half under. Munoz says Warriors on the hell no list after blowing that lead. Itachi sharing some more trends here. Divisional road dogs playing their 5th game in 7 nights. And this one, you're gonna have to explain to me here, Itachi, because how do you put the 5th game in 7 nights on there? That's what I need to know, because I feel like that's tricky when you start trying to put those queries in. But he says it's 8-15 against the spread, 34.8%. Says Kawhi and PG played every game this season. Do one of them finally rest tonight? I think they're trying to prove a point to not rest after the league made this policy, um, kind of taking a hit at Kawhi, in my opinion. Boofer say trends say Clippers early. Jesus says Clippers are a lock. Starchild like the Warriors first half. Clippers second half. So not a game that I'll be getting involved with. I'm pretty confident in that. And I think that's it for the show for today. So now it's about that time where we do the best bets, and didn't get one from Rob. He snuck out before we could get one for him. But no, in all seriousness, he had another show to go do. But he gave a lot of good info. If you want to scroll back to the beginning when Rob was here, I'm sure you can find a couple plays that he does like. And promo wise, both Rob and myself, our links are in the description. If you'd like to follow all of our work over at wagertalk.com. Best bet for the show. We did have a winner yesterday with the Lakers -7. So let's see if we can't do it again today. Pull out my short list here and take a look at the odd screen. I think for today, we still don't have those Portis numbers. Can't go that direction. But this one continues to drop. I don't want to tell you guys a number that I can't get myself. So bear with me for 1 second here. And because it's not on the odd screen for this bet that I'm trying to make, and the numbers continuously dropping. So just bear with me 1 second here. And I think the game actually got pulled here. No? Well, I want the Jazz team total under. The best number I'm seeing on the odd screen is 105. But I'm trying to pull it up to bet myself. I don't want to tell you guys 105 and I don't have 105. Let me know in the chat if you guys can tell me what you guys see here. Well, I'll try to put my book. I'm seeing 104.5. A couple books that I've checked. I do see a 105 on the odd screen, so I'm trying to just see if I have that available. But we talked this game out. I was initially liking the full game under, but this seems like a little bit of a better look. So NBA, boom. Let's try circa. Can we get a better number at circa? I don't even see team total here. So it's all right. 104.5. That's the best number we can get. That's what we'll take. It dropped a point while we continue to talk the games out on the show. Minnesota holding opponents more towards 101 points per game at home so far this season. We talked about Utah missing Markkinen, could potentially miss Clarkson. Utah, second worst offensive rated team in the last 5 games, going up against the number 1 defensive rated team. And Utah's on a back-to-back. So we'll fade Utah for the best bet on the show. I'll go under 104.5. I'm gonna let you know. Actually, I'm gonna let you know right now. If FanDuel has 105, 105.5, I can bet on FanDuel. Look, don't tell nobody, but I can bet on FanDuel. So last chance to check if I can get a better number. I always want the best of the number, just like you guys should. Nope, FanDuel has 104.5. Other sites are even dropping to 103.5. So I'll take it under 104.5. Jazz team total, best bet for the show. Like I always say, I appreciate you guys in the comment section. We have a great time every day, but I was laughing. Y'all had Rob laughing, and a lot of good information being shared as well. All of us versus the books. Best of luck on all your action. Good luck if you tell. And I will catch you guys in an hour. I'll be live again with my guys, Dutch, Wham, and Babano. See if we can't break down this card and find some more looks. So catch you guys then. Peace.